In this episode of Pickleball Breakdown, we head to Sin City, where we learn you don't have to gamble big to win big, and we get yet another baseball analogy from Alex. You know what we like to say to get this thing rolling? No, not that. Let's break it down. You know how this works. Send us your pickleball videos. Alex and I will break them down. We'll learn a little, laugh a little, and all get a whole lot better. This is Pickleball Breakdown.
All right, let me set this play up for you. We've got Ashley and Sam, local players here, by the way, in the Seattle area. We know them well. And Sally and Matt. And this happened at the Mountain Regionals in Vegas just a couple of weeks ago. And I'm going to give you a little heads up here. One of your pet peeves is going to show up in this video. But I also think there's some really good play every step of the way on this video. It's going to be a fun one to watch.
All right, let's take a look.
All right, let's go. All right, the first thing I want to point out here is Matt's decision right there to invite Sam and Ashley to the kitchen. And so let me ask you just right off the bat, it's like, why would you make that decision there? Put yourself in Matt's mind. You got Sam and Ashley back, and he decides, first of all, he thinks it's a winner. You could just see by his body language. Why would you choose that little soft shot there?
He's clearly never played Ashley before.
Yeah.
And doesn't know how fast she is, and she gets to everything. I'm not sure. I would have definitely tried to keep them back. You know, that's my whole philosophy is keep them back, don't let them up.
Well, you mentioned it. Ashley gets to it, and just not only that, but listen to this sound real quick. So first of all, she tells Sam she's got it. I just want to point out one thing here. Not only does she get to it, but then she puts up a really good lob, and less than 1 second later, you go from Sally and Matt being on the net to this with Matt. Just in the blink of an eye, they go from having the high ground with Ashley and Sam back to Matt trying this crazy overhanded backward stab shot.
I just want to point out too that if you have to go back on a lob that's like that, if that was going to be in, it probably is going to be right darn near the baseline. Better just to circle around that and drop it in the kitchen rather than try to pull off this maneuver, because look how out of position Matt gets after this shot. So you're, even if you get it over, which he does, you're not really set up for success.
So because of his bad choice, sorry, Matt, bad choice to drop that ball in the kitchen that Ashley got to and lobbed over his head, and then this choice, he's out of position. And speaking of position, look at what Sam does once, because Ashley, if you look
she's
here,
off the court.
She is off the court. And look at where Sam is. He just goes right to the middle of the court, and Matt just gets a desperation shot that goes right to Sam, and he's in perfect place. And then if we just let this play out a bit, you'll see that Sam then does what Matt should have done. He sees Sally and Matt back, and he just keeps them there.
Right. Yep,
So,
and just keeps him on defense.
now, credit to Sally here. She has some really good drops, including that one right there, which gets them back to the kitchen. And then I want to point out those two shots there by Sally. So after the two drops by Sally, watch, she's going to go with two hard shots. One right there, and then one right there, and gets the pop-up. Now, let me ask you this. If you look at that shot again from right there, who should take that shot?
Sally.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, right?
Yeah, probably Sally, because, I mean, I don't subscribe to the doctrine of forehand takes middle. But on a high ball like this, like it would, and there's not like so much time to where maybe Matt can get underneath it. It's kind of a quick elevated shot. So I think that he would be horribly out of position to go ahead and take that ball with a backhand overhead, you know.
He does take the backhand shot. He does get a little bit something on it, and Sam does a really nice job. Again, every play in this point by Sam seems to be just the right choice and the right play. So Matt takes the shot, gets a hard backhand, and there's a really good two-handed defensive play by Sam. Isn't it, though?
I love it. I think he got that from watching me. I'm pretty sure.
Well, who doesn't?
Love you, Sam.
Who doesn't? And gets it right in there. And then Sally does the right thing here once. Now they've flipped the script again. They've got Sam and Ashley back at the baseline again. Sally goes once where she rolls it back to them and keeps them back. And then she makes the critical error on the finish. She goes for the sharp angle. I heard somebody tell their partner the other day before a tournament, less winners, more winning. And I love that. So she went for the winning shot there and cost them the point and what turned out to be the match.
Right. So I kind of look at, being the baseball guy, kind of like pitching. I was a catcher, so I always am interested to think that way along those lines. Look at a pitcher like Greg Maddux. He would much rather pitch to contact and have you ground out to his shortstop and roll into a double play than strike you out. So he never went for the strikeout. Jamie Moyer is another good example of that. I like that a lot better than going for the big dog all the time, just trying to strike people out, so to speak.
Hey, I'm just trying to have a little friendly conversation.
Make no mistake. You like the big dog.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, if it's there,
Yeah.
it's got to be appropriate. But you can't just make things happen.
The heater. Here it comes. I dare you. Strike 3, you're